So we get a lot of questions about staking options and particularly the staking buttons within the Geeks toy software. So in this clip, we're going to cut out the fluff and get straight to the point, answering all of those common questions. So there's three main points to this video. There'll be short links in the description below, but basically we're going to cover staking buttons, turning them on and off, changing the different values within the staking buttons, and the different types of stake that are available when using the Geeks toy software. So straight on to the first point, where are the staking buttons options and how do you turn it on and off, and even where do you place them? So you can see here within my setup, I've got the staking buttons displayed along the top above each individual runner within the market. Now most people go to the Market Navigator menu to try and change their staking buttons. If you right click on the header bar there, that is the incorrect menu. So what you want to look at is the ladder interface here itself, right click the top and go all the way down to ladder layout. Below ladder layout there's different sub menus. You can obviously change the columns and rows, but if we go straight to staking buttons there, you can see you can turn them off and so they disappear. We can turn them back on at the top or the bottom. So previously they're at the top, now they're at the bottom. It's really that simple. So it's not hard to find when you know exactly where it is. So that's the first point covered. There's your staking buttons to turn them on and off. How do you change the default values? Now you can see by default it's 10, 20, 25, and I've changed one here to 57. Now some people, for all sorts of weird and wacky reasons, want to change it to different values. There's no problems with that. To start, if you just want to change your current stake, you just go up to the box at the top here and type in a different number. So we can change that to 88. However, that doesn't change the actual staking buttons themselves. So to change the staking buttons themselves, we're going to need to go a little bit deeper into some settings. So if we go up to the top here on the right click the Market Navigator menu, and I'm going to go down to open up my settings folder. So below the settings folder is my default profiles, but if I open the settings folder, that actually gives me access to those default profiles within the saved files. You can see you've got the in-play profile and the pre-race profile. So I'm going to change the buttons inside the pre-race profile. If we scroll further down, you can see there's lots of different files here, lots of different functions. You want to be careful not to play around with these, because if you change something you shouldn't, then you could potentially mess up settings on the software and give yourself more of a headache. Now I'm looking for default stake buttons, so default stakes, not default staking options, default stakes. I'm going to right click that, open it up with Notepad, and you see you're presented with something like this. These are all different staking types. That's why there's lots of different options here. And obviously you can see it's not very clear to somebody who's not used to looking at kind of code and stuff like that. So I'm going to direct you straight on to where you want to change. So stakes buttons, that's what we're looking for. So if you scroll down stakes buttons, you can see all the defaults here, 10, 20, 25, 57, 75. From there, it's just a case of changing them. So we can say that one will be 88, for example. You can change this to 104. You can change them to whatever you like. File, save, and that's it. However, to see this actually active within your profile, you're going to need to reload the profile. So currently it hasn't changed. Right click at the top, load custom profile. We're going to load the pre-race one because that's the one we've just changed. And you can see they've changed at the top there. So we've got 25, 57, 88, and 104. Nice and simple. So that's how you change the default stakes values within the staking buttons. Beyond that, we've got different staking types to take a look at. So you can see currently denoted by the little icon at the top of each ladder here, inside the Geeks toy software, we are on stakes format. So stakes is stakes as you would know it on the Betfair website. It's the number you put in if you're backing a horse to win. Alternatively, you can change it to liability staking. So if we click this here, it changes pink. You can see it's got some different values here now. And what that's going to do is that's going to say, hey, depending on what price we click on, it's going to match the actual stake to the amount of liability on offer. So for example, £100 liability, if we scroll down to 2.0, click the lay side of the column, lay side of the ladder, it would mean the stake is £100 because £100 laid at 2.0, which obviously evens, gives us £100 liability. Now, if we were to halve that and go down to 1.5, it would be £200 because obviously it's half the price. So basically your staking changes depending on the amount of liability that you're willing to take when you lay that particular runner. So again, that's not that complicated either once you understand liability and lay betting. Beyond that, I'll be totally honest with you, I wouldn't really use any of the other staking types, although I'll briefly tell you what they are. So obviously we've got staking as normal, we've got liability staking, which I've just explained there, tick profit. Now this might be used by in-play traders, but this denotes that the value that you put in is the difference between one tick, so say for example 4.2 to 4.1 on the ladder there, the amount of profit that you would make unhedged should that selection win. Book profit you could potentially use, and basically that's just saying you set the value, and regardless of what range of odds you're at, it will make the same tick, the tick value, exactly the same regardless of what price it is. Payout, obviously it's quite obvious. It's talking about the amount of payout that each bet would offer. So for example, if you were to put £50 at 5.0, it would put a £10 back stake in. And exposure as well explains itself. So just to wrap up, that's the 3 points covered. Where are the stake buttons, how to turn them on and off, how to change the default values in your settings, and the different staking types on offer.